Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nosa Capital coming to you on a rather coolish evening from the Southern Hemisphere. We've all seen what's going on in the markets generally. The S&P 500, NASDAQ, the crypto markets, the commodity markets, everything. But that's a separate video. We're not here for that. We are here, as always, for the rough and ready crypto analysis. So let's get started. Right, as always, we start with Bitcoin. And as we can see, the price of Bitcoin, a series of lower highs and lower lows, I beg your pardon. That's the first thing you notice. We've got a couple of areas of supply here. And we've got about 3 areas of demand. You can see there's an overlap here, which makes this area quite strong in terms of attracting the price back to that area. And of course, another area here. Now, I've drawn a couple of lines across here because, as I've always told you, if you look at the volume profile, these past areas of the volume profile affect the movement, the share price, whether it's the share price or crypto price movement, it always affects the price action. And what that means is that the price can move up and down very quickly. Now, having said all that, we can see that the price action itself is just sort of trading sideways, but not with any particular, should we say, sense. It's just kind of trading. I suspect, as I've always said to you, I would always go and look at the liquidation map. And the liquidation maps can easily tell you roughly what to expect. And, this is why I always tell you, kind of take a look at this. This gives you some idea of what to expect. In the current moment, I look at the 25 times leverage. I tend to look at that, the lowest point, that's in the buying area. And again here, the highest point, which is in the selling area. And so I would have it between 78,128 to about roughly 87,000. So that's what I'm expecting. So I expect the price to trade between that area. Now this, in coin glass, is not exactly the most accurate or the most honest, but the idea is you have an idea of what to expect. So as you can see here, I've also got some areas that I've outlined here. The reason why I've done that is if you look at this area here, you can see there's roughly approximately between 76 and 77,000. You can see here that this price here almost got there. This one actually did. And it had been a kind of a high point at some point in the past. That was as far back as November of last year. So I drew that line here. And look at where it coincides. It also coincides in an area of quite low volume, which means that the price can easily come to this area. Now, if it breaks this area here, it's coming all the way down, which is why you've heard that in some cases, you've heard people say 70,000 Bitcoin. And the reason, as I said earlier, this area here, as you can see, is there are 2 overlaps of areas of demand. So this makes this area quite strong. So do not be surprised if you see Bitcoin come down to this area, to 70,000. If it does that, consider that a very serious buying opportunity, and one should take full advantage of it. Don't get too attached to any of these things, any of these instruments. When it's time to sell, you make your money and move on. That is why you are a trader. Let's do our usual by putting the Ichimoku cloud. Let's just continue that tradition. And as you can see, Chico span almost running free, almost getting caught up within the price action here, which can also act as a hindrance. In other words, an area of resistance. Always remember when it comes from the bottom part, and if it comes from the top, it acts as an area of support, which then affects the price overall. Here, the Tenkan-sen is just barely above the Kijun-sen. Cloud at an angle, but everything is under the cloud. This is still bearish. So watch out for buying opportunities. Okay. Let's continue in our classic tradition. Let's continue. Let's look at BNB very quickly. We're not going to spend too much time on this. As you can see, this is just ugly. Just trading sideways. Massive area of demand here and here. For those who want to speculate, these are areas of where you can buy. Volume profile fairly even, nothing alarming there. Huge chunks of areas of supply, which means you can probably buy in these areas and get up here and sell if you're purely speculative. For those who are actually holding it, if you are in a very good position, you might as well continue to hold until you find a more reasonable price, and then you can get out of the market. Let's have a quick look with the Ichimoku. Again, just like the weeks past, look at the let's do this. This is really ugly. I mean, look at the price action. Look at where it is. It's kind of stuck, literally inside the cloud. And there's a couple of candlesticks out of the cloud. Cloud is flat. 10% above the Kinjin Sen. Chiku span also caught up. So don't expect much action until the Chiku span runs free. Do not expect much action from this particular instrument. So let's go to Ethereum. And Ethereum has, this has just been ugly. I mean, it's lower high, lower lows, lower high, lower, all the way down. Nothing encouraging at all. Now, I suspect that I was looking at something. I was looking at some of this stuff earlier today, and I thought, okay, let's have a look at something. If we take the let's no, not that. Let me stop. That's not what I want to do. Let me do it this way. So using the Fibonacci, and as we can see here, the 1.272 came out of 1,878. It's already broken that. As of this morning, I think it was still, was it there this morning or last, I beg your pardon, last week? Over the weekend, it was in this area here, and I thought it would hold. It doesn't. It's broken, and it's come here to about 1,755. Some people are positive that it's going to get to 1,500. But if you look at the 1.618 here, we're looking at 1,271. So I'm not quite sure how low this could go. Don't be surprised if it goes lower. Areas of supply around everywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this tells you a lot of selling has been taking place. Some of you might know, for those of you that follow, some of you will know that there's been a lot of people bridging their Ethereum into Solana or Sui or some other instrument, and people are kind of clearing out of Ethereum. Ethereum has its own sort of problems, and many have already said and posited that if Ethereum were to really compete, then they will have to rewrite code from scratch. And now these are people that know a lot more than I do in terms of that section of this industry. But it's quite interesting to see how people look at it. If we then put Ichimoku on, as always, look at that. The cloud has an incline there. That's just definitely bearish and trending downwards. Kinjin Sen is above the Tenkan Sen. Chiku span just about running free. Price action as a series of lower highs and lower lows. Everything under the cloud definitely bearish. And I don't expect something dramatic. I don't expect much to happen. But let's just keep an eye out on that price. Don't be surprised if it goes lower. Do not be surprised. And that's the scary part when it comes to Ethereum, because it's becoming a bit worrying now in terms of the way it's looking. So as always, we go to Solana next. This also, as you can see, is a series of lower highs and lower lows. 1, 2, 3, 4 areas of supply, one small area of demand, very small. In my opinion, Solana is not completely out of the woods yet. Don't be surprised if you find Solana coming all the way back to 110, 108, 109, 110, that kind of area. Possibly, yeah, about 110, something like that. I set the price 108. Okay, there. That's something I'm doing separately. It's nothing to do with this analysis, but I'm kind of, what I've done is I've kind of taking a position, a limit buy order where I put it at about 110. Now it almost hit it about, that was about here, it came to about 112 or so here, and I'm kind of thinking it might get back. It's gone up and then falling all the way back to the roughly that area. So I'm going to see if I might be lucky, I might get it, I might not, but we will see over time. If we were to draw, let's say from this area here, should it be here or here? Let's try from here. Let's see. So it's broken the 1.272, the 1.618 is at about 100. I don't expect it to go as low as 100 except something dramatic happens. I'm not really expecting that. And then we put on the Ichimoku. Again, cloud at an incline. But look at that here. Look at that. The Tenkan-sen just barely above the Kijun-sen. Chikou-span almost running free, but almost getting caught up here with the price action. Everything under the cloud, definitely bearish, but buying opportunities. If you can get anything under 130 at the moment, it's a great buying opportunity and you should buy. Put in a couple of limit buys here and there at lower prices to see, or from some kind of higher price, maybe from about 125 going to about 120, 118, 117, and we just might be lucky and get all those positions and sort of accumulate. Remember, I had said to accumulate under $200 in this area, so it will do you well if you believe in the project. I certainly, all admission, I believe in this project, and it's, in my opinion, I think Solana is oversold. If you ask me, Solana is seriously oversold. It's the kind of currency, it's the kind of coin, the cryptocurrency that if it explodes, is really going to go mega high. I promise you. This is going to be interesting because most of the transactions take place there. There's a whole crap load of stuff going on in Solana, which if we were to go to here to Artemis, and we're in the chains, and here, look at that. This light green, this is all Solana. This light green one is Solana. So look at that. Daily active addresses, Solana dominates. Daily transactions, look at Solana compared to the rest of the field. Everybody left for dead. Stablecoin supply, Solana comes a distant second to Ethereum, of course, but that's going to keep going up. Stablecoin transfer volumes, it's a battle between Solana. Solana was winning out earlier, and now Ethereum. Because I think we might actually have to do a video on that, where there's a lot of stable coins coming into the different crypto chains. Total value locked. Of course, Ethereum has been around longer. Solana comes a distant second. DEX volumes, look at that. Solana is right up there. So you know that things are happening. Look at that. Fees generated. Look at Solana dominating there. Revenue generated. It's a battle between Solana and literally Ethereum. So this is one of those cryptocurrencies that, yes, regardless of what's going on in the market, this is something that you should very seriously consider owning. Okay, have we looked at the Ichimoku? Did we look at it? I think we did. Yes, we did. We did look at the Ichimoku. So anyway, let's move on to the next one, which is Sui. Now, this is another up-and-coming chain. Many believe in the project. Another great L1. Looks at the chart, a series of lower highs and lower lows. It looks very similar to Solana in its outlay. If you just look at it at a glance, there's 1, 2, 3 areas of supply, one area of demand. Area of supply look a bit stronger. Volume profile, not too bad. Just a few areas of low volume area there that can affect the price action moving up and down, as always. there's a lot going on. I have to admit, I've not followed this. I've not followed this as closely as I should. But if you go back to our chains here, SUI is in blue here. This one, do you see that SUI quite number comes in at number 3, distant number 3, in terms of active daily addresses. Here's SUI here again. It comes in at number 3. Let's have a look and see. SUI is here. And barely visible. It's so low. It's very busy in terms of total, stablecoin supply. That's going to change in the very near future. Again, also stablecoin transfer volume, again, almost non-existent. But again, that will change as SUI continues to develop. Look at SUI here, at number 4 at TVL, total value locked. Let's look at the DEX volumes. I'm not surprised. It's almost nothing, very tiny. I think some DEXs are now just coming up, and SUI, I think we could take a look about that sometime in the future. Fees generated, SUI, look at that there. Just sort of flat. And if you look at it, it's telling about 33. Solana is 961,000 and SUI is about 33,000, a distant fourth. But nonetheless, it's up and coming. And here as well, we can see that it's also a distant third here in terms of the revenue generated, where Ethereum is generating, as of yesterday, 117,000 from Solana, and SUI almost didn't generate anything yesterday, but it still generates, some revenue. So it's not something to be sniffed at. I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on. It's current price is at about $2.27. Anything under 3 is try and get it. Some of you might actually pray for it to come all the way down to this area of demand here to get it really cheap and build up your stack. So that's not too bad an idea. Let's put the Ichimoku as always. Cloud as an incline. Kinjin-sen just barely above the Tenkan-sen. Chikuspan just running free, almost not caught up, too close to the price action if you ask me, but still free enough to move around. Price action, everything under the cloud, definitely bearish, but like I said, accumulate as much as you can under $3 if you believe in this project. Okay, so what's next? Now, before I go on to Moodeng and WIF, a couple of friends of mine have asked me to look at Pi. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I did a short, I don't know whether you've seen it, but I did a short video on Pi. And as you can see, not much data here, we don't see much happening. This is the daily. So in order to see something more, let's see, if we can see more things going on at a lower time frame. So I selected the 4-hour time frame. And this shows us a lot more in what's happening on this chain, as we can see here. And right, in the short that I did, I said to people, that expect this to come all the way down to about here, about 60 cents. I said, if it falls to this area here, expect it to start going back up. Now, it's come from this all this way up here. Let's see. So we've gone from that all the way down to this one here. And that's been about a 77.29%. I'm not surprised. For those of you who have been looking at this program, this particular platform, and using the app on the phone and everything, you find that there's been a migration of the currency, the coins, over to the main net. And I don't think most people don't have access to the main net, so I think the insiders are the ones selling. But don't despair. I don't expect it to fall below 60. I expect it to then start going back up. And don't be surprised if it goes all the way back up to about $3. Do not be surprised, because this generally tends to happen with new coins. Price action here, volume action from the volume profile, not too bad. I expect it to move a bit rapid if it breaks this area here. Once it goes above, let's see, once it starts going above about $1.80, expect it to go back up. I was thinking it was trending downwards, and then suddenly this area here, you can see it's the last 3 days it start going back up. Maybe it's run its course, we shall see, but we'll keep an eye on that. Let's just, as always, the Ichimoku. This is definitely bearish, as you can see. Cloud, Kingston above the 10%, Chikuspan running free, definitely bearish. Like I said, I don't expect it to drop below 60, or maybe in the late 50s, but I doubt that. I think 60 will be the limit, and then for it to start going back up. So I thought I should just throw that in there, as someone made a request for that. So let's go to Moodeng, as always. Let's go back to the daily. There's enough data there. And here we have it. Again, it's now flat. It's been trading sideways and even dropped a little there in this area here. Volume profile quite sparse. Areas of supply here. If you speculate, if you're a speculative type, you can buy down here to sell at any of these areas of supply. If you've been a long-term holder, you're just going to have to keep on holding, because if you sell now, you're probably going to just about lose everything that you've got. I mean, it's fallen from that all the way down to somewhere here. That's a 95.08% drop. Not funny for someone who's been holding all this time. Patience, infinite patience is required, as I've always said before. Look at the Ichimoku. I don't have to tell you what this is. You know this is bearish. The cloud at an incline. Everything else under the cloud, definitely bearish. Nothing we can do about that other than to sit back and wait. And hopefully things will turn around in the next cycle. And finally, we look at WIF. Actually, WIF surprised me. I thought that we were not going to fall. I didn't expect us to fall even further to 42. So I'm beginning to wonder, is this the end? Because it's been trading kind of sideways. Is this the end? Now, I don't expect anything major to happen. If you are in WIF, looking at this, and if you look at this area here, let's make it a little bit bigger. There we go. This area here, if you don't see the price above 63, going to about 64, don't expect anything dramatic to happen. When it breaks this area here, where I am, this area right here, so roughly here, when it breaks that, expect, hold on, let me see. Sorry, I said 63, that was the low. 79. If it breaks that 79, then you've got quite a movement. You could go up to about as 150, 160, to about this roughly area here. And maybe then things might take off and go back to its all-time high. If we look at that all-time high, let's do this so we can see it from its all-time high. Go there and you come all the way down to here. That's a 91.87% drop. It's going to take one hell of a movement and bull market to get that back to former highs. Now, some of the biggest danger going on is that many of these coins, particularly the meme coins, many of them are not going to come back to their all-time highs. So if you are unfortunately somebody who spent money on this, you're going to have infinite patience and maybe even get prayerful on this one, because many of these coins that lack utility, no. Again, just as always, our Ichimoku, just so as to see, you know the routine now. inclined cloud, 10% above the Kinji-sen above the Tenkan-sen, Chiku span running free, price action and the lot all under the cloud, definitely bearish. This is also going to require quite a lot of patience. And the speculators, well, that's good for you if you can. Hope buy something at this low and just wait the timeout and see what happens. Anyway, the markets are a bit funny. Some have posited that it's going to be about May of this year before the next cycle kicks in. Many of the pundits and some experts believe that it's the bull market is not dead yet. It's just going through all these cycles of trading sideways and everything else. But only time will tell. Like I said, infinite patience. Look to the future to take profits. And please always take your profits. Don't sort of hold on to infinity. You might be able to do that with Bitcoin. That one, because Bitcoin is now a major force to be reckoned with and has become macro, as some would say. But you can't do that. You can't do the same with many other coins, particularly coins that lack utility. So please, ladies and gentlemen, be careful what you buy out there. Anyway, that's me. So as always, keep your eyes and ears open and you're trading sharp. Have a good one. Bye.